Okay, so those food tokens are grain and
invertebrates.
So I'd get one of each, I guess.
Yeah.
Dice immediately. So if the bird tray is ever empty, bird feeder is ever empty, reroll all 5 dice. If any are mice, catch 1 mice from the supply on this bird. Cash 1 mouse.
You having fun? I'm taking a video of you.
There you go.
Cammy, are you having fun? You like laying on Joel? Hi, Cammy. Good morning, y'all. It's Friday morning, and I'm headed into the campus. Got some grading to do today, and then I'm hoping to get home, and I want to work on my book for a while, I think, and then maybe craft a while. I got to spend Wednesday afternoon and all of Thursday with Joel, which was really nice. We mostly just watched The West Wing and played board games. I've been buying all these new board games, and the goal is to eventually have a board game night with his family, so we figured we would learn to play the games first so that we could understand them. And so we played Mythwind and we played Wingspan. And Mythwind, there is a huge learning curve on that game. I actually found a really good tutorial series online last night after he went home about how to play the different characters. So I sent him the link for that, and I watched part of one of it, and it really does help. So then Wingspan is a little bit easier to figure out. There's not as much going on with it, but it's a really, and it's what I like about Wingspan is it moves pretty quickly, right? You're playing and there's a lot of strategy. Well, there is strategy. I won't say a lot, but there is strategy involved. But it's not like the end game is not out of sight. You know, you go, each player goes so many turns, like it decreases the number of turns each round. So the first round, it's 8 turns per person, then 7, then 6, then 5. And you only play 4 rounds, and then you're done. Which I think is really good. It's long enough to keep you entertained, but short enough that you're not like dragging it out, like, you know, like playing Risk or whatever. Mythwind is an ongoing thing because it's a world building thing. So it's an ongoing game. So we played those 2, and then we also looked through Humblewood, which is the D&D expansion, and I looked at Azul, which is a tile game. So it has rules also about how you have to kind of have strategy about how you place your tiles. So yeah, so we played those 2, and then we've played Abduction a few times, and then Trekking the National Parks. So that's the 4. Of course, I've been shopping for other games. I believe in manifestation. I believe in putting that energy or that prayer or whatever you want to call it out into the world. And the more you feed that energy, the more likely that outcome is, right? In a positive way. I mean, you can feed negative things too. So I think wherever you put your energy is where you're what you're going to attract in that sense. Not exactly the law of attraction, but kind of think of it as riding horses. Where the shoulders go is where the horse goes. So you try to get your shoulders headed in the way you want to go. So one of my ways of manifesting a game night is to buy some new games. And granted, I've gone a little over the top, and I've backed a bunch of them on Kickstarter. So some of them won't be here until next year. But I do enjoy Kickstarter. You know, now all my targeted marketing is games and Oracle card suggestions, you know, for Kickstarters. But I like the idea of a Kickstarter because the money goes directly to the person instead of through some, corporation. But so far, I've enjoyed what I've got off there. Now, there are some games, like we had played that Leviathan Wilds game at Mystic South. There was a game room at Mystic South, and we picked up this Leviathan Wilds game, and we didn't know what we were doing. Of course, we were super tired, and we didn't know what we were doing. And I think a lot of these new games, they come with directions, but then they also come with videos that get into the more subtle details of the game. And so I think after watching the videos, then it becomes very clear what you're supposed to do. But I think that a little bit of the games themselves can be quite confusing, because a lot of these games, like Mythwind, has so many moving parts to it, in the sense of you've got it's for up to 4 players. It's 1 to 4 players. You can't play it by yourself. But there's 4 characters with very detailed and specific things they have to do every day. And Joel chose the Merchant, and I think the Merchant is probably one of the most challenging ones to play, because it has to keep track of the market and the market trends and everything. And so I think that watching the videos is really helpful. I think with Leviathan Wilds, I think that a lot of they explained some of the moves, but some of the moves were not clear. And so after watching videos on that, it helps. But I like a more complex game. I like something like that has a richness of layers to it. Sometimes. And sometimes I want something straightforward. Like the abduction game, it's very straightforward as to what you're supposed to do. But then your strategies can get very complex, which I really like that. So it's a perfect game that tickles both sides of what I need out of a game. But at any rate, so I'm headed into work, and then I'm going to try to do some stuff this afternoon. So I'm looking for, I have realized that I have all these big ideas and plans for things I want to make for Enchanted. I'm not going to get most of them done because I just don't have the time. So I'm going to pick out a couple of, I've got the one white skull painted, and I want to get it finished. So the next stage of that one is going to be making the mushrooms, the glow-in-the-dark mushrooms to go on it. So that's one of my goals for this weekend, is to do that. I know I'm gonna have to make them around wire, like an armature wire. Joel has made some for me before, and I watched what he did, but now I'm gonna have to play around with it a little bit myself. Then the next piece that I want to try to finish, I really want to try to do a tile mosaic on that ram skull. And I have in my head what I want, and I've got some little mosaic pieces. So I just need to see if it's going to work. And then we'll go from there. I don't know if it's going to work exactly like I want it to, but we're going to try it and see. That may be, I may not get that one finished, but I really want to try to. So what I've got coming up, nothing this weekend that I know of, just kind of playing it by ear. I don't know, Joel had mentioned something about getting together to play games this weekend, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So I never plan on that unless he calls and says, yes, this is happening. So, because, he has 2 teenagers at home and then an adult son that lives at home, and they are not incredibly social. They're just not. That's just not their thing. And they're still getting used to me a little bit, and that's okay. You know, this is something that if you want to build it for the long haul, you have to take the time that it takes. And so I don't ever like to insist on us getting together to do things, but it happens organically, and that's okay. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I said all of that to say I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Right now, I'm going to just operate under the assumption that it's not, and I'm going to craft this weekend. That is and work on my book. Those are the two big goals I have this weekend. I want to get to a certain spot in my book, and then I want to pull everything. I need to organize my boxes too, but I can do that through the week next week. But I want to pull everything that I've gotten mostly done, or what needs to be done, and start finishing some things. So I've got the skull with the color changing paint. I have the horse skull with the glitter dust on it. I've got the one deer skull that I want to put the mushrooms on. And I'm going to pull all those out and see what the next step is on all of those. Then I do need to reorganize my boxes, partly because after the Pride event, they were just in chaos. And partly because this event that I have coming up next Friday is very narrow in focus, and it's one table, and it's only bone art. So I need to pull out what it is that I'm going to make. I also need to make some new meditation beads, because I had made a huge bunch, and I had about 50 sets, and now I'm down to about 20. So I've sold them off, so I need to make some new meditation beads. And then I need to, like I said, organize my boxes. I got my little dandelion pieces. I got the cords for those, so I need to put those together quickly. Those won't take more than an hour to get put together. And get those carded up and ready to go. And then I've got, I want to try to make some antler tip pendulums. So I need to drill and wrap. I think I'm going to make 4 or 5. I'm going to make 4 or 5 of those. So I'm going to drill and wrap some antler tips and then put them together. I bought some copper chain, and I've got some snake vertebrae, and I'm going to put together kind of an unusual looking pendulum. So yeah, so that's what I've got done, or want to get done. I don't know that I'll get all that done this weekend, because the book needs to take priority. I've got a lot of stuff done. I don't know how much more I'll get done before it's ended. I do want to make some more skull rattles though. I do have some pieces that I want to make into skull rattles. So that's going to be a sitting down and decorating those and getting them ready. But yeah, so we'll see. That's kind of my plan for the weekend, and it's a lot of rambliness, but y'all should be used to that by now. So I'm going to keep on going here to work. Hey y'all, well, I'm just working on grading assignments here and looking at, you know, I have them, instead of doing tests, I have them do what's called objective assessments, where they have to pick out objectives from the chapters that we're covering and then support the objective they have. So they've got 4 objectives per chapter, and they have to support it with 4 facts. And yeah, so it's a way for them to learn the material without the pressure of an exam, because I just want them to learn stuff. I don't necessarily want them to be bombarded by a test. This is a gen ed class. It's meant to be helping their broader educational outlook. And so anyway, so I'm grading those, and one of the things that they are supposed to do is go to the writing center. We have a campus writing center where they can get their stuff looked at and, you know, spell checked and stylistically checked and all these wonderful things. And so I have them do that because frankly I got tired of reading crap. And I need to use the writing center when I need an editor when I'm working on stuff. So I figure it can't hurt them to know. And it's a free service. They provide a variety of ways to get appointments. They do them over Zoom. They do them on Google Meet. They do them on, you know, they just provide a lot of different ways. They'll even give you email feedback. So, you know, yeah. So that's for them to be able to get used to using these services that are provided on campus. And yeah, so I'm working on grading those. Those take a little bit of time because I have about 76 students, and so those take a little bit of time. But yeah, that's what I've been doing this morning. So nothing super exciting, just working on that. But I have been watching tutorial videos on how to play Mythwind too. So we're going to get better at that. But anyway, I'll check back in with y'all in a little bit. Well, I'm taking advantage of the nice weather outside. We're supposed to get rain next weekend, though. We hope. I'm taking advantage of the nice weather outside to do some painting and sealing and all that kind of stuff. Getting stuff prepped or finished or whatever for my different events that are coming up. So you can see I've got a bunch of stuff laid out here. Some of it I'm sealing, some of it I'm painting. I'm trying some color change glitter on some stuff. And I'm going to try something on this skull, this deer skull. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to try it. I'm making this inspired by the one of the characters from Old Gods of Appalachia season 1, Horned Head, who is a giant black stag with amber horns, with amber dripping off of his horns that glows from within. I'm going to try something and we'll see if it works. Plan worked, but I can't show you yet because it's drying, but I'll show you next time. I'll show you tomorrow. I'll take video tomorrow, but my plan worked. I think it's going to be great. This is what I've been working on instead of making those necklaces. I decided to start trying mosaic out on this ram skull. Unfortunately, they took his horns off and they were still a little wet, so they shrank and now they don't seat properly. But I'm working on putting this mosaic tile on it, and I think what I'm going to do is just put tiles around here and around here to kind of blend it in. So I've got this swirl across here, and then I've got one that's going to split off and go this way, and then on the back I'll probably curl around this horn as well. So I think it looks pretty okay. I'll put some grout on it when it's done, but it's kind of a slow process because it takes time to place the tiles and you have to let them dry and all that good stuff. But so far so good. He was a big boy. He's got about a 3-foot horn spread here, so that's pretty nice. Yay. So I am working on probably my most ambitious art projects right now on a couple of skulls. One is a ram's head that I am trying to do a tile piece on, where I was listening to a song called Holy River, and I'm trying to do this just a swirl of mosaic tiles. But then I have a blue wildebeest skull, and I'm trying to put an Egyptian goddess on it, and I'm trying to draw her. So I'll show you what I'm doing. The ram skull has however far I got last night, but this is the wildebeest. So this is going to be an Egyptian goddess, and then she's kneeling with wings, and then the sun here. And once I get this outline done, I'm going to go back in and add color to it. It's not going to be a realistic, it's going to be more like a tomb painting is my plan, but we'll see how that works out. feeding Flame and Gusty a little extra because they're getting older. You know, Gusty is 21 this year and Flame's 19. And Gusty has always had a hard time keeping weight on. So I'm feeding them a little extra. Of course, Bo and Trixie are not satisfied with that arrangement, but these two are. So that's good. Yep, they're being good girls. I finished it. I think it turned out okay. I'm pretty happy with how it looks. I've got to spray some sealer on it so the paint won't scratch. So I'll do that tomorrow. I'm going to let the paint dry overnight before I do anything like that. But I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I think that's a pretty good piece. Pretty happy with that. Now I'll show you the one I was working on. A lot of y'all know I'm a fan of the show Old Gods of Appalachia. And in the first season, there was a creature on there called Horned Head. And it described him as a giant black stag with amber-colored antlers and red eyes. So I had this piece. I had a skull that my friend Tim gave me, and the antlers had damage on it. It was very unusual, so I painted it. And I did an ombre effect on the antlers. And I am super happy with how that has turned out. So now the next step is going to be, I'm going to get some amber, because in the show it's described as having amber antlers. I'm going to get some amber pieces, and then I'm also going to get some amber pieces to put in the eyes. And I've ordered flickering tea light, battery operated tea lights to set back in there and put in his eyes. I think that'll be super cool. Some other things that I've worked on today. This is a piece that I did. This is a horse jaw, and this is glass tile mosaic with grout on it. And I put sealer on it, and I wish that I hadn't, because the sealer got a bunch of dirt and stuff in it. And so now I'm going to have to clean it off, and I'm not happy with that. Then let's see, what else have I worked on? So I sealed my Kelpie pieces. So Kelpies are half horse, half aquatic animal, so like mare horses from Scotland. So I painted some Kelpies on this bone. This is a leg bone. I think this is a buffalo leg bone, if I'm not mistaken. And then let's see, what else have I done? Oh, I took this cow jaw bone and I carved on it, and I carved an oak tree, or a tree with leaves coming off of it. And I have got some really cute acorn bells. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put bells on this and make it a rattle. So I've got a little bit more paint to do there on the edges, and I'm going to spray another coat on the front of it here because it's got little smuts on it, a little couple of smudges on it. And then that will be ready for bells. So let me go ahead and do that really quickly. So I'm using this Rust-Oleum metallic paint, and it's got really good coverage, and it is a primer and sealer and everything all in one. So it does really good on these bones. So I like it a lot for that. Let's see, what else have I got over here? So over here, I've got the piece I was practicing carving on. So I went ahead and finished that, and I sprayed it with a coat of black, and then this is color changing glitter. So when it's in strong light, there's rainbow glitter in this, and it changes color depending on what angle you're looking at it from. So this is sealed and ready to go. I just need to figure out what I'm going to do with it, what I'm going to put on top of it, or whatever. So this is ready to go in the house for the next step. Then, some other things. I've got, these are cow vertebrae, and they sit flat. So we're going to see if we can sit crystal spheres on them. So I sprayed these also with that same color changing glitter, a couple of them. And then I repurposed the angels from the thrift store. So there they are. I've painted them. And now I've got to figure out how I'm going to finish them off. I painted the cage. So the cage is all painted here. I don't know what I'm going to put in it yet. I have some ideas, but it's going to be something that's going to take some thought. So probably not going to get done for this show. Then I sprayed this antler, or this deer head, with that color changing paint also. Although I see a couple of spots where I missed a spot or two. So I'm going to go over it again. But anyway, so yay. So these are the things that I finished. You can kind of see that iridescence there. Isn't that amazing? I love that. Anyway, so I'm going to finish up with these and then go back in the house and work on my stuff. You can see that glitter better. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Oh, yeah. That's super cool. I love it.